This is Drew. Um, I just got through making an oil catch can for the Subaru Turbo, and it works basically for any engine, turbo, non-turbo, but especially for turbo. What it does, put it on the breather line for the valve cover, going to the PCV, usually from the PCV valve into the intake or throttle body, and what you do is it helps to catch the oil vapor before it goes back in the intake or the throttle body. Um, on a non-turbo, it's kind of important because eventually it'll come up throttle body. And even in old school carbureted motors, you got your line coming from the valve covers to the carburetor base, and you'll get a lot of burn off in there, and it'll burn off into the, foul up the plugs and junk like that. And if it's going into the higher side of the carburetor or into the air filter on and that's your suction side, which it shouldn't be, but sometimes people route it that way. It'll route it through the carburetor, which is even worse. Now on a turbo, it's a little more important because not only do you have vacuum pulling the oil vapors through there, you've also got boost pressure and a lot of crankcase pressure because the engine's under so much more combustion pressures that more combustion gases and stuff pushes through the rings and cylinder walls into the crankcase. Well, there's air pressure. So if there's nowhere for it to go, or your PCV valve is stopped up, it'll blow out somewhere. It could be valve covers, it could be your rear seal, front seal, cam seals, whatever. So, and that goes for old school cars too. If you don't have it vented, like my old Y block, it never came. The old Ford Y blocks, they never had any crankcase ventilation. So not only did the combustion gases settle in the oil, and the oil will not last, which there again contaminate the oil, and it spin bearings and stop up oil passages. Also, it's not good because they'll build up pressure quicker under high RPMs and blow out oil out everywhere, basically. Either out of the oil cap vent or out of if you got a sealed cap, it'll blow out of the valve covers and everywhere else. So the breathing system is important, but also with it recirculating it back in the intake, you use a catch can to catch the oil before the air goes back in. On a turbo, you're running so much boost pressures under the cylinders, all that air gets in the crankcase that escaped around the cylinders or around the pistons whenever it's running. And what it does, it'll blow the oil vapors because you got the crank spinning oil all over the place and the rods slinging it everywhere. And the air, when it goes back up to the ventilation system through the valve covers, it's pulling a lot of that oil vapor with it. It's oil mist. I mean, if you ever tried to pour oil in your car in the wind, it blows around pretty easy, even a thick stream. So it's all blowing back up and pushing it up through the breather hose, through the PCV valve, which it'll gum it up for one thing. Always check that. They're cheap. Probably a good idea just to change them when you change oil, or clean it out in some gasoline or something, and make sure it's working. Blow in one way and it doesn't blow the other way. Good to go. So what it'll do, it'll come back around in the intake and right back down in the cylinder to burn off. The problem is the oil vapors don't compress like air, and it throws it makes it more prone to knock. They take up space and they don't compress like air would. So whenever the cylinder's at full compression and high heat plus high pressure because it's a turbo, so you got even more air that goes in than is made to go in that space, plus the oil that doesn't compress, and it'll actually make it knock, and that's bad. That's worse. But I've actually done this on non-turbos with clear ones, and you can see, you can actually watch it catching oil. You're like, wow, that crap would be going in the car. And you can get it out, pour it back in the car every couple weeks or every month or whatever if you want to. Or you can dump it, dispose of it, whatever. But you know, it's clean oil. It's oil that's already in the engine. Just sucking it up that got slung around. So what I did, use a fuel filter. And at first it was hard to blow through. So what I did, I cut it like a soup can up here at the seal, poured it open, and I left most of the media. Because what I don't want it doing the same thing it did in the crankcase, blowing in real fast and sucking it right back up the other tube. So I left most of the media. This is the inlet. So go in here, it has to run here or go around and settle somewhere else. The oil does. But up near the top, on the outside, I cut a hole up high so that if it's full of oil, it'll settle up here and it'll still be able to be sucking air through here. And that's my catch can. All I gotta do, stick the case back on, and I marked it with 2 marks right here so that I know where the can lined up, so that no matter how retarded my cuts are, I know how the can fits on the top piece. And then it'll seal right back up with some JB Weld or something. No problem. Right there. Yeah, here are my 2 marks. See, that seals up good. All my lines, see my crooked line, it all matches up anyway. So that's all I gotta do. So definitely do a catch can, make one, whatever. Anything works with inlet or outlet, like that. Or if you wanted to get real creative, I mean, a little overflow tank or the little lawnmower gas tanks, that'd work good because you can probably mount it somewhere and it would look like a regular radiator overflow or something. And then you could, pull the gas cap off, look in there and check on it every once in a while. But it should help. Should work good. My another thing with the Subarus, as soon as you buy a turbo, the ACVS, the variable valve timing, uses the oil pressure to change the cam timing, and there's a line going to it on each. I don't know if it's each side or just one side. Definitely look it up and Google it. I checked it on my Legacy GT, and it had already been done, and it had already been done on the Forester. But there's a little micro screen. If that screen stops up, it'll starve the turbo of oil. Of course, I don't have to explain what happens when that happens. But you could take it out, leave it out, as long as you change your oil the way you're supposed to, and on the turbo, for God's sakes, every 3,000 miles, especially with a boxer, should be fine. Run synthetic oil. For God's sakes, run synthetic oil in a turbo. Extreme heat. Non-synthetic is more prone to coking and clogging oil lines. When you kill the car, especially if you kill it without letting it idle for a minute, if you just kill the car, that oil in that turbo, that red hot turbo, it'll start boiling because it's not circulating cold oil back through it at a constant rate. And it'll just sit there. It's like leaving just a stick of butter in a hot frying pan, turning the fire off, but the pan's still boiling hot. And there's nothing in the pan, just a little bitty piece of butter. You may come back and the house be burnt down. That's what happens, basically. Except it turns into syrup. So, if you can't idle it, whatever, that's fine. But for God's sakes, use synthetic. So, that's how you make a catch can and why and how it works. So, my next little project, I'm going to show you why to use an OEM Subaru transmission filter, not a freaking oil filter. The parts stores, they don't sell them. They do not sell them. They sell you an oil filter. You look up the part number, it's the same freaking thing. So, you need to get one from Subaru. I got mine off eBay. But it is a legitimate Subaru one. Subaru part number in the box, brand new. Made in Tokyo. So, they're made different. Anyway, my next video I'll explain that one. It's a big deal and it will jack up your transmission if you don't. Deuces.